back here on the Morning Brew, where today, April the 22nd, it's Mother Earth Day, and we're celebrating with our friends from the Ministry of Planning and Development. The United Nations Environment Program released its 2020 GAP report, which showed that there was a tiny dip in carbon dioxide emissions during the COVID pandemic, but unfortunately, that dip is not going to make a significant change in the overall impact of climate change. We're still looking at a 3% increase in temperature on the planet, notwithstanding attempts to reduce those emissions that are heating up the planet and influencing climate change. One of the other things that we've been hearing for many years now, but which has caused growing alarm, is what's been happening with the ozone layer, those emissions, thinning it out, creating a hole. And to tell us more about this and what we are doing here in TNT to reduce our impact on the ozone layer, we've got Dr. Marissa Gowrie, the Deputy Environmental Manager at the Environmental Policy and Planning Division in the Ministry. Thanks for joining us this morning, and happy Mother Earth Day to you.
Thank you, and same to you.
So we are at the make or break point in terms of dealing with our emissions and protecting our ozone layer, which has taken quite a battering from our industrialization on the planet. Dr. Marissa, let's look at why we need to be concerned about what's happening with the ozone layer.
Okay, and once again, good morning to you and to all the viewers. So just to take a little step back on what the ozone layer is. The ozone layer is a very, very thin layer that surrounds our Earth. It's what we call our natural shield from UV radiation. It's around 3 to 4 millimeters thick, and hence you can appreciate how fragile it is. But it performs a very, very important function in that it filters what I mentioned, the UV rays that's coming out from the sun. And if these rays hit us unfiltered, it can cause things like increased skin cancer, eye cataracts, weaken our immune system, and affect our agricultural yield. And so that this shield is very, very important to the sustaining of life on Earth. You said at the beginning of your program that Mother Earth really is our home, and none of the other planets really can sustain us. And this is one of the things that allows Mother Earth to sustain life. So therefore, protection of this layer is crucial for us to have a healthy lifestyle and existence. So back in the 1980s, scientists discovered a thinning of the ozone layer, what we call the ozone hole. And they did some investigation, and they did find that it was chemicals that's made by man going up into the stratosphere, coming into contact with this ozone layer that was causing the proliferation of this ozone hole. And so over the years, in the 80s and onwards, an international convention called the Vienna Convention for the Protection of the Ozone Layer and its Montreal Protocol was founded and signed globally. And essentially all of those who have signed on to it, and Trinidad and Tobago did in 1989, have committed to phase out these damaging substances that were causing this hole in the ozone layer.
And some of those substances have to do with those air conditioning units that we need so desperately as things get hotter and hotter, and the deodorants that we use, which are easier to put on and don't mess up our clothes so much. Dr. Marissa?
Yes, that's true. So that you have these gases that are found in several sectors, most predominantly the one that was damaging back in the 1980s that was found out was something called chlorofluorocarbons, or you might remember CFCs. So that there was a lot of impetus back in the day to phase out CFCs. And we have, in fact, as a country, together with the rest of the world, phased out CFCs since January 1st, 2008. So we have been doing our part as well. But there are other gases in the same sector that are also damaging to the ozone layer. And there's another gas called hydrochlorofluorocarbons. It's just a big word. We call it R22. And that one also has some potential to damage the ozone layer. So we are currently phasing out that gas. We started in 2013. And the alternative, which is the hydrofluorocarbons, and those are the ones that you just mentioned, the 410A and the 134A, they are not damaging to the ozone. Okay. However, they are what we call greenhouse gases and contribute to climate change and global warming. So that as a body, as an international body, the Montreal Protocol recognized this and has made an amendment to the Montreal Protocol called the Kigali Amendment, of which we are also signatory. And we were the first country in the Caribbean region to sign on to this agreement and the 21st country globally. So that was quite an achievement. And what the Kigali Amendment will do is it will put things in place for the eventual phase down of these gases. So 410A and 134A are found in things like our air conditioning units, our vehicles in our cars, our air conditioning units, the refrigerators in your home, so that we have them in our daily lives. And we have to ensure that whatever that we purchase, that they are both ozone and climate friendly.
Now, there are a couple of major projects that the ministry has undertaken to further Trinidad and Tobago's agenda in terms of reducing its impact on the ozone layer. Let's talk about one of those.
Sure. So Trinidad and Tobago would have applied to the Global Environmental Facility, or GEF as we call, for funding to complete or to start and complete a project that is looking at improving the energy efficiency in the refrigeration and air conditioning sector. So we were successful in attaining around $5 million that will stretch over a period of 4 years. And we're looking at several pilot sites to engage this project to really introduce new technology, which are both, as I mentioned, ozone and climate friendly, as well as improve the awareness of the general population, those in authorities, and basically anyone who is engaging in the refrigeration and air conditioning sector to employ these new types of technologies that are ozone and climate friendly.
Last year, during the height of the lockdown period, many people were installing air conditioning units in their homes, and they probably wanted something that wasn't too expensive. But would those have been safe units, safe for the ozone layer? Can you tell us whether we're bringing in the new models that will be friendlier to the ozone layer in the country?
Yeah, so we have actually stopped the import of all our 22 units since 2015. So you wouldn't find them on the market readily for purchase. So what we have, though, are the R410A units. Now, in terms of development of technology, the technology is still in the process of development to utilize types that are non-HFC, so that we are working very hard to get this type of technology into the country. But those who would have purchased units last year would more than likely have purchased our 410A units. So that is something that you would have done well to protect the ozone layer. And I also want to make mention that what's also very important is the servicing of these units and engaging a technician that is what we call professionally certified, or employing good refrigeration practices when servicing the units, because the gas itself is not dangerous. It's dangerous when it's vented into the air, goes up into the atmosphere, and comes into contact with the ozone layer. As
everyone becomes more conscious, not just here at home, but around the world, of protecting the ozone layer, have there been any gains, with this increased awareness and these increased efforts?
Absolutely. I think that one of the biggest gains is that we've seen a slowdown of the expansion of the ozone hole, and we are, as a global community, looking forward for early recovery of the ozone hole. Of course, these gases stay in the atmosphere for a very, very long time. CFCs was around 200 years. So what we put there many years ago will be there way beyond my own or your own lifetime. But at least, the generations to come would not have to deal with it. So that we are seeing a lot of progress internationally in terms of the recovery, as we say, of the ozone hole, and also in terms of our own efforts nationally. We're seeing a lot of increased awareness. We're seeing persons, being more mindful of the types of units that they purchase. We are seeing an improvement in how people engage technicians. I should mention that we are working closely with the Metal Industries Company Limited to expand our professional certification program. We work very closely with the Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards, the Ministry of Trade Licensing Unit, the Pesticides and Toxic Chemicals Inspectorate. A lot of agencies work very closely together to ensure that this program is successful.
Okay. Dr. Marissa Gowrie, thank you so much for your time this morning. And folks, pay attention to the air conditioning unit that you're installing, because it's going to get hotter this year. More people are going to want those AC units. pay attention to it, protect the ozone layer. Dr. Gowrie, happy Mother Earth Day to you. Thanks for your time.
Very same to you, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for having me.
Okay, folks, we are focusing on Mother Earth, whom we've treated very badly. Pollution is something that we have done that is going to take a lot of work to reverse. That's our focus in our next interview with our friends at the Ministry of Planning and Development.